record. Yes, it is recording, and then I will go full screen. Okay, hopefully everyone can see that. So we're presenting today the results of the IoA's annual EDI Wellbeing and Culture Survey 2020. It'll be in two parts. I'll present the results from the survey, and then Mark will present the initiatives and ways forward. So you might be asking, well, why are Claire and Mark presenting that today? So the IoA annual surveys are overseen by the IoA Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And if anybody's interested to join, please let us know. We have had a change in chair of the committee, so we'd like to take this opportunity to give our thanks to Ian Perry, who's been serving as the chair for the last 5 years, and for all his great efforts in leading the committee over that time. He'll be continuing as a committee member and as chair of the self-assessment team for the current Juno application. And thus we have two incoming co-chairs, Mark and myself, hence us presenting this to you today. So the IoA annual surveys, to just give the context, they're important measures that the IoA uses to gauge what our working environment is as experienced by all the members of the IoA. And from that, we can identify both positive and negative aspects and look to address those to improve the working environment for everyone. We've had 4 surveys to date in 2016 and 2018 to 2020. And these are administered and analysed by the EDI committee, and you can look at the summaries on the EDI webpage, and we'll put up the 2020 documents shortly. So a lot of work is done to analyse and understand the results by the committee, and I particularly want to say thanks to both Ian and Colin de Graaf for their hard work in putting together the tools for anonymising and analysing the surveys with these wonderful figures you can see in the full summary, and for writing the executive summary. And Colin is moving on from the IoA, so we just want to thank him for his great contribution to the committee for the last 5 years. So to remind everybody what was in the survey for 2020, there were 80 questions in total, a variety of yes/no questions, strongly agree to strongly disagree questions, multiple choice, and open-ended response questions, though this last set weren't used in the quantitative analysis. There are 5 sections to the survey: you and your job, working together, work-life balance, inclusion and fair treatment, and the IoA and its culture. The survey ran from June to September last year. There were 174 eligible IoA members who were invited to participate in the survey, 90 of which participated. So that was about 52% participation rate. It was an 86% completion rate, so most people made it all the way through the survey, and it took on average 12 minutes and 31 seconds to complete the survey. This graph here shows the survey responses by week over the time it was open. Each peak corresponds to an email reminder, so they are definitely useful. We will be using those again. These bar charts break down the participant demographics in terms of job category, gender, and ethnicity. Each question also had a prefer not to say option, which was taken up by almost 20% of people. At this point, we'd like to say regarding access to the survey data, only the EDI chairs have access to the raw data. And thanks to Ian, we have a tool that automatically anonymizes the data so that no individual can be identified. And we want to say this to reassure everyone that that is not how we're looking at the data. We want to preserve your anonymity. It is of primary importance, because then we can make the most out of the data generally to benefit the Institute and everyone in it. So the executive summary, which you'll be able to read in full, identified key themes under these 5 topics: bullying, harassment and discrimination, male versus female responses, professional services staff responses, awareness of policies and support, and comparison to the university-wide survey was also undertaken. And I'm going to go through each of these in the next few slides. The caveat we'd like to make is that the participation rate being 52%, this is not high. And for some of the subgroups, it was notably low. This means we have small numbers for many responses, and so we can't really draw robust statistics from them. So we'd like you to consider that the following summary indicates themes that the IoA wants to address rather than confirmed statistical trends. So the first topic was bullying, harassment, and discrimination, and the key question was, and I can't actually see it properly with the bar on my screen, but it's whether you experienced bullying or harassment of any kind in the workplace. And this is the key figure from the full summary, broken down into categories and then showing the results from each year. And it was a yes/no question. So yes is red and no is blue. And certainly from all of the participants, it's showing that reported incidents of bullying and harassment have increased each year. And this is particularly prevalent among the professional services staff and the academic staff. So what is this indicating? It's hard to tell from this question. Is it indicating a rising trend of bullying and harassment in our workplace? Or is it indicating rising awareness of what constitutes bullying or harassment? Or is it both? And Mark's going to talk about how we want to address this further. Another key question was, I would feel able to report bullying or harassment without worrying that it would have a negative impact on me. So we're showing the two figures from the full summary that illustrate this by gender and by job category over the 4 surveys. What it's indicating is that fewer people feel able to report bullying or harassment without worrying about a negative impact. So the worry of a negative impact is getting stronger. This is particularly so for females, students, and professional services staff. What we also note is that of those who reported experiencing bullying and harassment, only 50% of them provided their gender and job information. When you compare that to the people who did not report experiencing bullying and harassment, 90% of those provided their gender and job information. And this is a concern, and this is something that we need to address. And then finally, for this topic, there were 6 reports of discrimination experienced in the last year. On the topic of male versus female responses, overall, female responses tend to be slightly less positive than male responses in the survey. And then looking across the 4 years, female responses are tending to be less positive as time goes on. Particular areas where female responses are declining while male responses are improving are health and well-being, stress, recognition, and regular feedback. So I pulled out 2 of the questions relating to this and their associated figures, which you can see here. And again, Mark will talk more about this in his section. On the topic of professional services staff, overall, the PSS responses are less positive than that from other job categories. And over the 4 years, they're trending to be less positive as time has gone on. And this is in particular with respect to equal opportunity and fair treatment, ability to report bullying and harassment, and recognition of work. And again, I illustrate 2 of the questions from the full summary here, broken down by job category. We would like to note that the PSS survey participation rate appears to be quite low, but we also note that 26 participants, so that almost 20% of the participants of the survey, did not provide job category. And that's something that we do want to address. The next topic is awareness of policies and support. And it was indicated over the 4 surveys that there's a declining awareness of policies with time. And there were listed 5 policies where this was particularly noted, and I've given from the full survey the 2 questions and figures relating to this. These were yes/no questions, and they're particularly to do with parental leave policies and support, but also unconscious bias, the availability of those workshops. There is an increasing awareness of what is offered in terms of health and well-being, and that's illustrated in the bottom figure by job category, though this is decreasing among the PSS. What the analysis is also trying to do is to look to see how different questions go with each other in the analysis. And there is some evidence that increasing awareness of policies may increase satisfaction. In particular, awareness of health and well-being policies strongly correlated with thinking that the Institute cares about health and well-being. And then finally, a comparison was made to the university-wide survey that was carried out in 2019. And in most questions, the IoA's survey received responses that were comparable or higher than the university-wide results. There were particularly strong areas. So belief that the Institute cares about health and well-being is a lot more positive at the Institute compared to the university. Belief that action will be taken as a result of the survey was higher for the Institute. Access to sufficient support, and also recommending the Institute as a great place to work. But we have some weak areas as well. Experiences of bullying and harassment is higher at the Institute. Satisfaction with the outcome of working flexibly or part-time. Awareness of return to work policies, and the ability to strike the right work balance are all low at the Institute compared to the university. So that's a summary of the executive summary, which we encourage you to go and read. But I hope you have taken some interesting points away from that. I'll now hand over to Mark, who will talk through the second part of the presentation. So I'll just stop sharing.
Great, thank you, Claire, for that summary. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mark Wyatt. I'm the other half of the co-chair team of the EDI committee with Claire. And in this half of the talk, I'm going to be describing some of the initiatives that have either already been implemented or that are planning to be implemented on the back of this survey to make improvements to the working environment at the IoA. As you will have seen from Claire's talk, there are 4 main areas of concern that were identified on the themes of bullying and harassment and discrimination, the professional services staff awareness of policies and support, and the gender equality. And I should make it clear that I don't think of these as problems that need to be dealt with, in particular those headings in themselves. Rather, they are issues that our community at the IoA faces that have been identified in the survey, and these are issues that make the working environment at the IoA less ideal for various members of the community, and it affects us unequally. Not everyone is affected in the same way. So while you may find you're having a fine time at the IoA, you have experienced no problems, and I certainly hope that's the case, and the survey has identified that for the majority of you that is indeed the case. We have to acknowledge that it's not the case for everyone, and that improvements can be made. So at least I hope that we can agree, at least as a starting point, that this is something that we should aspire to, that everyone should be able to be happy in their working environment at the IoA and to flourish and to be treated with respect. And also that while things may appear all fine, there's always ways that we can improve the working environment, and that's the spirit within which these initiatives are intended. Okay, so on to these 4 points. The most substantial one that I'm going to discuss is the bullying, harassment and discrimination one, because it comes within the context that that any incident of bullying, harassment and discrimination that gets reported is too many. We should and do have a zero tolerance policy at the IoA towards bullying, harassment and discrimination. So the fact that we had 14 incidents reported in the last survey is indicative that there is an issue that we certainly want to and need to sort out. But to do so, we need more information that we have at the moment. We are information poor. We know from the annual survey that incidents have taken place, but we don't know what type of incident, because the survey question was not fine-grained enough. And it's also concerning that people don't feel able to report the fact that incidents have taken place while they can report it in the anonymous annual survey. They reported they did not feel able to report this elsewhere. So, but we don't know why that is. So we can do a couple of things to make up for this information shortfall. The most straightforward thing that we can do is to add more questions onto the annual survey, and we can advertise that the annual survey this year will be coming soon, later on this summer. So please do look out for that. And on that, we will be expanding on the questions around bullying and harassment. But we don't want to do that too much, because if the survey becomes a lot more lengthy, then it will put people off reporting and filling in the rest of it, and so that there'll be more information, but not everything. It's also the cadence of the survey is annual. It comes around once a year, which means that we don't get information on as fast a timescale as we would like for such a serious issue. So for this reason, we have also proposed an anonymous reporting tool that has been developed over the last year by a number of people, most notably Deborah and Colin, who have been leading this with some PhD students. And this tool is now nearly ready to be rolled out. It's not going live at the moment, but we hope that it will be in the next couple of weeks. So what is this tool? Well, if you see here on the right, if you go to the tool at the moment, this is what you would see. I'm not asking you to read this at the moment, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. I've just shown there the text that is at the start of the tool that outlines its motivation. So the idea is that you can use this tool to report anonymously any inappropriate behavior of any kind from staff, students, and other members of the community on matters of nature of harassment, bullying, discrimination, or sexual misconduct. And the idea is that this can be done completely anonymously. There will be, if you scroll down, there are just tick boxes for you to report. There are no free-form text for you to be able to identify individuals or yourself, or indeed the incident itself. This is a purely information gathering exercise. And what you will be asked about in the questions, I'm not going to go through all the questions. You will be asked who is involved, not in a sense of to identify exactly who it is, but to identify the category of whether it's academic staff or students or so on. So we know that who is involved, and notably you can report not only for yourself but on others' behalf as well. And you'll be asked about the type of behaviour, and because there is no free-form text, there's quite an extensive list of potential types of behaviour, and this is what we want to know. We want to know what type of behaviour is causing people to report that bullying, harassment, and discrimination has taken place, so we can understand how to deal with it. So there's that about the type of behaviour and whether it's linked to perceived personal traits. When and where the events took place. Of note here is that you can report on events that took place outside. They don't have to just have taken place at the IoA. They have to be related to the IoA. but they can take place outside of the IoA within the wider university, for example, or at conferences. So we know where these events which affect our community are taking place. Again, there's not specifics being given here, but just so we know the kind of things that are affecting the community and the impact of the event on the people involved, and whether they were aware of this, and whether anyone stood up and acknowledged the fact that this incident was taking place, and why this is being reported anonymously, so we can get an idea of well, how better to deal with this kind of reporting. Why are people not reporting it through other means, and also to ask whether it is being reported elsewhere. Okay, so that's what you'll be asked about. There's also an important aspect of the tool is to provide clear signposting to sources of support. Thank you, Francisco. Which is the next thing that you'll find, because obviously if anyone is reporting anything, then they will maybe in need of support. So there'll be clear signposting to sources of support, and also to informal and formal reporting options, because it has to be made clear that because this is anonymous, no action can be taken of it. We don't know who is involved, either who's reporting or who this is against. So no action can come of it, except for the IoA to take on board the issues that are facing our community, and to try and make processes that can improve our working environment. And these results will be analysed by the EDI co-chairs, like the survey, as well as an appointed representative, who is Deborah in the first instance, seeing she has had so much involvement in the development of this tool. And it will be communicated to the EDI committee to come up with recommendations to try and make improvements. Okay, so we can look out for that in the next couple of weeks. And as well as this information gathering, the purpose of this is also to make you aware. This information is only coming to the IoA, that this is a grassroots initiative that is led by the IoA, that illustrates the seriousness with which we take this, and that we're proactively working to make improvements. Okay, and it should also spark some conversations about these issues as well. Because it's worth pointing out that the university initiatives in this respect, as well as the Change the Culture initiative that was announced last month, and that has a report and support tool associated with it, which you may be aware that has been retracted a week or so after it was launched. There were issues there which we're not completely at the bottom of, because it's undergoing there's a report being made on this at the moment, but there are issues with having the freeform text fields where people can anonymously make claims against people, and there are also other issues involved. Okay, so but there are two things I want to say about this. First of all, the fact that the university has this Change the Culture initiative shows that they are also very serious about bullying, harassment, and discrimination. The fact that this has been retracted, it will come back again, and we are fully in support of this initiative. Our tool is not meant to replace their tool, or to. It's supposed to be in addition to that tool when that comes back online. So that's one thing to note there. Okay, so other bullying, harassment, discrimination actions we have. There's in terms of support. I don't know if you are aware that we have a Wellbeing Advocates network. These wellbeing advocates can provide guidance and signposting about wellbeing issues, including dignity at work concerns and other ones. That if you knew about it, you'd probably know that Ian, Kathy, and Angela are the wellbeing advocates, but it has been recommended to expand that network, and our co-chair Claire, and also Monica Gambo and David Evans have been added to the team of advocates, and they will be so you can go to them for support as well, and more people are being asked to join, so that there are more ways to, more opportunities for people to find people who they would be comfortable reporting these issues to. Okay, there are also several EDI courses that you can attend that will help bring awareness about the bullying, harassment, and discrimination issues. This is just a list of the courses that came by email yesterday to me from Angela. Just to point out that there are these courses going on all the time. Please do take advantage of them. They are mandatory for all. Some of them are mandatory for all IoA line managers, and there is good take up of those. So, but others can take them as well, and I think they are beneficial for everyone in the community, so that we're all working towards the same common goals of improving our environment. So please do take advantage of those. They are being taken up, like I say, it's about 90 to 100% for the people who it's mandatory, but that it's for example more like 40% amongst those who it's not. Okay. Other points, there's an IoA code of conduct that's been around for a couple of years, so hopefully you know about this. If you don't, go and check it out on the IoA website. Another suggestion from the executive summary based on the survey is to provide opportunities for discussions of well-being and fairness. And that's one I think important point to make, is that we need opportunities for communication, for talking about these issues in an informal way, so that it becomes more part of our culture to recognize that there are these issues, and the more we talk about them, the more people will be aware of them, aware of their own impact on others. And hopefully we can get through these in a non-confrontational way and improve the environment for everyone. Okay, the professional services staff. Remember the issue was that there's declining indicators on several in several respects. So we want to understand what is causing that. There's also a low participation rate in the survey. And the one thing I wanted to start off this discussion with is a reminder of the recommendation from the Culture and Communication Review, which took place a couple of years ago, that the Institute should change its prevailing narrative around the relative value of its various staff and student groups, replacing what seems to be a pyramidal status hierarchy with a role-based understanding of community, in which each group is respected for its specific contribution and expertise. And what I wanted to say from this is that to reassure the professional services staff that they are so their contributions are very much acknowledged and welcomed by everyone at the IoA, and that I know that a lot of people do go out of their way to not take them for granted and to acknowledge their contributions, but we could always do better. And this applies not just to the professional services staff, of course, it applies to everyone, that we should be acknowledging everyone's contribution to the IoA. Okay, so in terms of what we're actually doing, so that's something that anyone can do, even if you're not part of the professional services staff, is to acknowledge their contribution and everyone's. In terms of specific actions, we need to get to the bottom of what's causing the declining indicators, and for that we are setting up a focus group with that'll be led by HR, the university HR, with some professional services staff, and that'll take place at the end of June or early July, and it will report back anonymously, not naming individuals. It'll be just what are the themes that come out as, what are the issues that are being raised by this group, for suggested, and they'll come back to the EDI committee for suggested actions to help the improvement. in terms of the low participation, that we have to get that right with the messaging, that the survey, and indeed, everything at the IoA is not just for the academics, it's for everyone. And we need to explicitly request their input and make them feel part of this, and to make the, and we also need to make sure that the survey questions are relevant and aren't too academic focused. There's the declining awareness of policies and support. We want to make the EDI website the go-to place where you can find out about the policies and EDI initiatives. This is what the Equality and Diversity website looks like at the moment. You can see there's lots of useful links here for parents and carers, inclusivity initiatives, anti-racism resources. For example, this is being updated as a blank square down here that we've found a good set of Colin found a good set of links to go in there. So this should be your go-to place for links that are in this area. But of course, that would require you to be proactive. We need to be proactive to get this information out about the policies and support that's available. We need to do that proactively as well. So we can send out reminder emails about the policies. There are posters around the IoA for those of you who are coming in. I've seen them today. I'm in today. I've seen some EDI posters around to make people aware. And we're discussing at the moment within the committee the idea of an EDI newsletter to advertise the various EDI initiatives and to raise awareness of policy. So hopefully that will be implemented sometime soon. Okay, and finally, there's the gender issue of for some of the responses, the responses were looking less positive for women than for men. We can make some focus groups to understand these issues better once we've finished with the focus group for the professional services staff. So that's one possibility. A couple of things I wanted to mention that are already ongoing. These aren't new initiatives, but I wanted to point out the things that are going on, like the monthly women's coffee chat, because that reinforces the point that I was trying to make for some of the other points about discussion. Talking about the issues is important, and it's one of the kinds of a forum where these issues could be identified and discussed in a non-confrontational way. The other thing is I wanted to highlight is the International Women's Day, which came up with this montage that you can see here on the right. I certainly enjoyed reading about this celebration of this sector of our community. And it's great to see all the great role models that we have, which I'm sure will inspire future generations and hopefully contribute somewhat to recognizing contribution of this part of our community. And finally, I wanted to point out, in case you're not aware of it, as part of raising awareness, but it's also relevant to this, the Career Support Fund. You'll see some of the responses have been particularly negative for women in the last year. And of course, we know that the last year has been an unusual year with COVID, and also that COVID has affected disproportionately those with caring responsibilities and those and women as well. So which might be a contributing factor. But I point out the Career Support Fund because this supports university employees whose careers have been adversely affected by COVID. And it's replacing the returning carer scheme for this year. And the deadline for this, for the last round 3 is on the 15th of July. So if you think this applies to you, not just if you're a woman or if you have caring responsibilities, if you're affected, then please do apply. Okay, so conclusion is there are 4 main areas where improvements that can be made. I think I'm out of time, so I'm not going to go over those again, but please do look out for the initiatives that we've got going on. Do look out for the anonymous reporting tool. We'll advertise this by email. be aware of the Wellbeing Advocates Network, and do take advantage of this if you need to. Please do contribute to any focus groups that you're invited to, and check out the EDI web pages, and look out for the next year's survey, and please do submit a response. As you can see, we take the survey seriously, and we're trying to come up with actions to improve everything for everyone. And please do get involved in the EDI committee, even if you just want to be an observer. Part of our remit is to raise awareness of EDI issues, so not everyone on the EDI committee is fully actively involved. And please, you don't have to be a minority or disadvantaged in any way to make a contribution to the EDI committee. You just have to care, and I hope that you will do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Claire and Mark. And